Good afternoon, and thank you for joining me. With me, I have the Minister of Health, the Honorable Kim Wilson, JP MP, and the Deputy Director of the Disaster Risk Reduction and Mitigation Team, Ms. Kelly Trott. During our last media update, I committed to providing you with the latest operational information as it develops to ensure that you are aware of what is taking place on a number of levels. This afternoon, we felt it prudent to update you regarding a few matters to do with our returning residents and students over the course of today and tomorrow. As you are aware, we have health declaration forms available at the L.F. Wade International Airport for our returning passengers. There are 3 flights that are due to arrive this evening. Every passenger on those flights who enter the island have to self-quarantine for 14 days to help limit any possible spread of COVID-19. Should any person not have the ability to self-quarantine, facilities have been identified to accommodate them. We must know where everyone is quarantined. An updated form will be provided to ask whether or not persons can self-quarantine. The Royal Bermuda Regiment will be responsible for transportation of persons who are unable to self-quarantine to their residence. The Royal Bermuda Regiment have provided 5 buses which will be used to transport persons and their luggage to the identified locations. These buses will be cleaned prior to being used between each flight. The Bermuda Police Service will have extra persons at the L.F. Wade International Airport to assist where necessary in relation to traffic control, escorting the buses, and providing whatever assistance they can to Immigration and Customs. The intent of this plan is to make the process as smooth as possible. But to put that in common parlance, we are not forcing anyone into quarantine. Many people returning students said they might not have the facilities in their home to self-quarantine. And so we wanted to be proactive, so no one was left being a risk to the community. And so we have spoken to some of our hoteliers, and they have made facilities available. Again, this is not mandated. People will not be herded off the plane by the Royal Bermuda Regiment and forced into a quarantine facility. This is 100% voluntary, and this is an option being made available for people who do not have the ability to self-quarantine in their own residence. Also, as an additional note, we are aware that a number of Bermudians we have been made aware of a number of Bermudians who are on cruise ships who are trying to return home. We are working with Government House to get them home. Once we are successful in bringing them back to Bermuda, they too will have to go through the process of the mandatory 14-day self-quarantine. Late this afternoon, we were also advised that the Department of Immigration is liaising with the airlines servicing the island to ensure that children of work permit holders can return to Bermuda. Those work permit holders whose children are returning home to the island today and tomorrow should immediately contact the Department of Immigration. An email should be sent to the Chief Immigration Officer, Dr. Danette Ming. The email address is dwming@gov.bm. The following information should be included: the child's full name and date of birth, the full name of the parent holding the work permit. Once again, this bears repeating. While all seaports are closed to visiting pleasure crafts and cruise ships, the seaports remain open to cargo vessels. As it relates to TCD, there are alternative vehicle licensing procedures in place. TCD is closed to walk-in customers. Individuals who need to renew their private vehicle licenses by March 31st, 2020 can also do this by a 2-step procedure. Number 1, renew your vehicle insurance to your insurance provider online or by telephone. 2, visit eTCD to register and pay your vehicle license online. For those individuals required to renew their heavy truck license, the government has extended the period for heavy truck relicensing until April 30th, 2020. However, to be compliant, heavy truck owners must contact their insurance provider to renew their annual policy. On completion of the licensing process, a new registration certificate cannot be provided. However, the TCD system will recognize your vehicle as being compliant. As I directed earlier today, our new normal is uncomfortable, it is unfamiliar, and it is daunting. We must do things differently if we are to slow down any potential community spread of the COVID-19 virus. Ultimately, I believe that we are a resilient people. We have proven this on so many times before. I believe we will rise to meet the challenge. We will overcome this latest adversity. And as a people, we will be stronger for it. I am happy to take any questions along with the Minister of Health.
Members of the media, if I can ask you to kindly speak to the microphone. Jonathan, I'm going to start with you, then I'll shift to Trevor.
Okay.
Any questions?
Thank you kindly. An afternoon, Minister. Again, in no particular order, but just things that folks have been asking us. In terms of testing on the island, are you able to tell us where we're at with that? Are we still waiting for a matter of days, or are we on a one-day service, as it were?
I'll let the Minister of Health to
Hi, Jonathan. You'll recall that the Premier indicated previously that government was pursuing two sources with respect to testing. One was being pursued through the Cabinet Office, and the second one was being pursued through the Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Health, in conjunction with our international partners of PAHU, as well as the World Health Organization and the Public Health England, have been looking to source test kits as well as the equipment, test kits and equipment that are approved by the FDA in the United States. We have secured those, and we are anticipating that they will be on island any moment now.
Thank you, ma'am. I've been asked to just ask about there's a community action plan. I believe that pertains to how we're going to look after folks who are without shelter during this time.
We are still working on that. The EMO will meet tomorrow morning, and we will have the specifics of that at another time.
Got a number of questions as to how the trash service will be functioning.
We will have an update with reference to the trash tomorrow. Again, the EMO this morning, we focused on some really critical matters. As you can imagine, we are doing this systematically, and what we wanted to make sure this morning that we spend our time dealing with the core issues, making sure that we had significant plans in place. Tomorrow, we will go to the phase 2 in tomorrow's EMO meeting, and we should have some ancillary updates tomorrow at another opportunity.
Thanks, sir. Just a couple more. The regular updates with the EMO that you mentioned, do those continue over the weekend? Will we be looking at updates over Saturday and Sunday?
That's a very good question. It is quite possible that we will keep our battle rhythm, but more than likely we will not have a press conference. The updates will most likely take place with a press statement.
Thank you, sir. And just lastly, are you able to say which hotels folks might be using to quarantine in, or?
No.
Okay.
Minister, just to reiterate, Hamilton Docks are only providing supplies coming in, medical and food supplies, correct?
The docks are open for business. Yes, so if the docks are operating as normal, we have had the opportunity to speak with stevedoring services. We've had an opportunity to speak with all our ancillary partners. Everyone is aware that the docks are open for business. The pleasure crafts and the cruise boats, they are not operating as normal, but the docks are open for business.
Issues coming to light about small business entrepreneurs that are having financial challenges, or those that meet commission on customer service. If there's got no customers coming in, is there anything in place to assist these business owners?
The government is looking at a plan that will be released in the not too distant future that will have financial components attached to it.
Are you forcing these small salons, gyms, etc., to close their doors?
So I think it's important to put everything in context. When we use words are very important through this process. And so when we use words like force, I would like to just come back for it for a second, and if you would allow me to paint a picture. We are trying to prevent community spread. And so when we see people going about business as if things were normal, we realize that there are certain elements in our country that do not realize the serious state that we are in. When we say force, I will not use those words. We are advising people that if you are not a part of the critical infrastructure, preparing for a COVID-19 response, or our country's critical infrastructure, it makes very good sense for you not to be on the road, for you not to be doing business in Bermuda. There will come a time if the force of law will give us the authority in law to make more difficult decisions, but we will only do that after receiving information and guidance from the Chief Medical Officer and the Minister of Health. At this time, we want Bermudians to be intelligent, to be prudent, and to think about our entire biosphere. We're encouraging people in every walk of life to limit the leaving their homes, to understand that we're dealing with trying to manage community spread. And so when people start using the words force, people are trying to rev themselves up into what I believe is a bit of hysteria. We're asking everybody to think of this holistically. The government is not forcing. We're saying we are a community and we're doing this together. If you can avoid being on the road, doing business in a restaurant, we're asking you to find alternative ways of conducting yourself and doing business.
At this time, no new updates or new releases on any more cases recorded?
As we've indicated previously, the updates with respect to the amount of testing as well as the results is updated daily on the Ministry of Health's website. So the results thus far as that was communicated to the media yesterday from the Premier.
Thank you much.
Jonathan, any follow-up questions at all for you? No? All right. Members of the media, thank you very, very much for joining us this afternoon for this latest press briefing. That concludes our press conference.